Hello, I'm Barbara Parker, and welcome to 2020 Bolingbrook. Sit back, we have a great show in store for you. With me today is Jackie Traynere. She's running again for the Will County Board seat representing most of Bolingbrook. And in this primary, she was again the top vote getter out of 4 other Democratic candidates. So Jackie, thank you so much for being with me today.
Well, thank you, Barb, for having me. You know, I always enjoy coming to visit with you.
It's always a pleasure. Anyway, especially we get to talk politics and everything, so that's always fun.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to ask you about was, what do you think was your success story in getting the highest vote count of any of the other Democrats? What did you do maybe that was different than what they did for you to get that?
Well, I've been involved for a long time in politics, over 25 years, but here in Bolingbrook, in the community since 2006, actually, when the local Democratic Party asked me to run for the county board. And I agreed to do so, and with the understanding that I knew I was going to have to knock each and every single door in the district because we had never had, or at least not in my lifetime, a Democratic county board member representing this part of the community. So it was basically, I attribute it to the door knocking. And that's something I have steadily done each and every election cycle, even if my name wasn't on the ballot. So to me, the key is really touching base with the community that you're supporting and that you're asking for their vote.
Now, you're also a PC in your community, so you are very familiar with the people in your immediate community. Do you reach out to them to help you knock on other doors, or?
I have. And just for those watching, PC is a jargon for precinct committee bin.
That's right. Sorry, guys.
Precinct committee person, actually, as of a couple years ago. I have a couple of people in my precinct that I can count on from time to time, but basically I like to do the door knocking. It's interesting. You can knock on the same door 6 years in a row and never speak to a human being. So it is something that takes repetitiveness and consistency in order to actually meet the people in your neighborhood. And then, of course, they aren't expecting you, so sometimes they don't even know what they want to talk about. But I do make my contact information public so people can call me. In fact, I got a call from someone just the other day, and the person was kind of unhappy about their property tax. And I said to them, I asked them some questions. And educated them on the fact that the school board is about 70% of their property taxes. And I asked them how many school board meetings they've went to, and I asked them if they would consider running for office, because that's how you create change. You talk to people in the community, you step up, you take a role, or you step up and support someone else that is willing to put their name on the ballot.
When you say support, I've always been a behind-the-scenes person. I never wanted to take that step out until township elections, and I decided to throw my hat into the ring.
Yes.
And it worked out good for me.
Yeah.
But anyway, now we're going to talk about general election.
Sure.
So you have all this great knowledge on your community and the people that you could count on for help. Are you going to do anything different in the general election that you did in the primary?
Not so much. No, I'll still continue to knock doors, distribute literature, talk to people. I've been fairly busy personally lately. I became a grandmother again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And took a couple trips, one with my husband, one with a very dear friend. And so I've been kind of tied up, but, it's time to knock doors, do phone banking, do mailings, and get back to doing my newsletter, letting people know what's going on in the county.
All right. Well, hopefully Jackie's going to have a very successful campaign again, like she did in the primary. So she'll be our I shouldn't say new, she will continue to be our county board member for the next 4 years. Bolingbrook, she is the one person on the ballot that you should make sure that you vote for. Her contact information is here on the bottom. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Jackie about any issues you may be facing. She's more than willing to help you. Right, Jackie?
Thanks, Barb. You betcha.
With me today is Rachel Ventura, and she's running for state senate for the 43rd district, and it makes up a good chunk of Bolingbrook. Rachel, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And I have to say, I want to chat with you a little bit about the primary. And I was so impressed with your decisive win over your Democratic opponent with the little that you had. You want to talk a little bit about why you think your primary was so successful?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things that went into that. First and foremost, my volunteers who have gotten out there tirelessly, as I have, and walked doors and spoke with the constituents of the 43rd District about why this is an important race and why I would be the best candidate for it. But also, I have been campaigning for 6 years. The first time I ran for office was in 2016 for the 2017 election. I was elected onto the county board in 2018. I also serve as the vice president of the Forest Preserve, and we've gotten some things done. We've ruffled some feathers at the county. I think that helps with name recognition, but really that one-on-one voter contact, discussions at the door, talking about some of the things that are important is invaluable, and it really does transcend money being thrown in an election. I think right now in the bigger political world, people are concerned about their democracy, they're concerned about ethical government, and those are things that I'm also concerned about. And I've been advocating for honest, compassionate people in office, and that's what I'm going to be when I get down there.
Well, that's great, because I have to agree with you 110% with that. But since you were so successful in the primary, are you going to change any of your strategies now that the general election is upon us?
Yeah, not really. We're going to be adding to it. So we're still knocking doors. Every weekend we're out knocking. We still phone bank. We're still doing events. We show up at parades and festivals, getting to know people where they're at. But we're adding to that. We have a mail component now, so you'll be seeing more mailers for me, which we didn't have as many in the primary. We'll probably be doing some social media expansion from what we did before, and possibly some texting. So just kind of growing that. But at the end of the day, the bread and butter of our campaign has always been voter contact, voter engagement, and we're going to stick with that and just try to expand on it.
Well, you've been very lucky, because I've got to meet some of your volunteers, and they are so dedicated and committed to getting you elected. I mean, they roll up their sleeves and do whatever it takes to get out there and get your name out there to the voters. So that is really good. You have to be commended, because that says a lot about you when you have that type of commitment from your volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, it's twofold. So first of all, thank you. Second of all, there's volunteers that come to the campaign for two reasons, primarily two reasons. One is policy, and then one is person, right? They believe in me as a honest, ethical person who's intelligent, who's compassionate, who's going to bring all that to the table, and they trust that I can help move our leaders to be more like that. And then there's the policy, right? I get into the weeds a little too much on policy. I really dig in. I do my research. I have an open door. I listen to people's concerns. I try to think outside the box and find solutions. So it isn't just so cut and dry. I do have my personal beliefs, but I'm also someone who can be persuaded if I feel it is for the greater good. But I'm going to ask for evidence and receipts on those things before I move. But I think that I understand that the working class is hurting in America, that we've continued to squeeze them, and we need to start setting policies that help our working class and really help make sure that people trust that their government tax dollars are there to serve them and that their priorities are being met, not just the uber wealthy, not just the politically connected. And that is something that I am definitely committed to, making sure that our tax dollars are serving the working class, the working poor, and not just the uber rich.
Now, if somebody wanted to volunteer and do something for your campaign, are you still letting people help out and volunteer, do things?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a very active campaign. So if you are interested, my website is electventura.com, and there's a volunteer tab. Just send us a message and we will plug you in. We've got activities happening 3 to 7 times a week. So just contact us and we'll find the right activity for you.
One of the things I love, Rachel, is that driving around town now, I'm seeing your signs all over the place again. People, and some of them, it's the same people that had them in the primary. Did they contact you and say we want them back?
Yeah, so we have let people know that we pick our signs up. We do try to reuse as much as possible, and then we brought them back. That way people didn't have to mow around them or weed whack over the summer months, and then we brought them back out. We did call through and make sure that people still wanted our signs, and then we still get sign requests at the doors, talking with people today. But yeah, we're at today's date, we're 40 days out, and early voting has begun, so we'll be picking up the pace a little bit. And the best way for word of mouth to tell your neighbors and friends that you're supporting a candidate is to put up a yard sign. So it really helps send that message out there, that we're trusted and we're supported. So if you'd like a yard sign, you can definitely go to electventura.com and click on the yard sign.
Well, Bolingbrook, you heard it here. Rachel is a great person. She'll be a great representative for us in the state Senate. Please consider voting for her come November 8th. Thank you, Bolingbrook.
Thank you.
Hello, with me now is Destinee Ortiz, and she's a candidate running for Will County Board. She's a newcomer to politics, so we have to congratulate her on her decisive victory in the primary because she was the top vote getter for Democrats and Republicans for her seat. Destinee, congratulations on that very decisive win.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know what? I wouldn't say top vote getter for Republicans because the Republicans did have more of a turnout. Although there was only one candidate on the ballot, she got more votes than me. But I guess if you put it that way, we were split up. But yes, we're just very afraid that Democrats need to make sure that they're coming out because Republicans did show out more so than they did in the last election, and so Democrats had less showing out with Republicans having more showing out. It's very scary, especially with women's rights on the ballot. We need to make sure that we are.
Well, what did you do during the campaign that got you more votes in the primary than your other two Democratic opponents?
So I would have to say that I worked my tail off. It was blazing hot outside. A lot of those days I remember it being over 90 degrees and my face was red hot and people were asking me, "Are you okay? Do you need water?" And just trying to stay as hydrated as possible and, just keeping consistent and motivated. And I don't think I've ever wanted anything more in my life, honestly. That's just what motivated me to keep going every day and knocking on doors. I think when we were really close to the election, a few days out, I was hitting close to 100 doors a day in the heat and calling people afterwards. And so just a lot of voter contact is what really got me those numbers that I did.
Now, with the general election coming up in weeks away now,
Yes.
Are your plans going to change in any way from what you did during the primary?
So I am planning to work just as hard or even harder, honestly. I know now this time how important it is to ask people their updated phone number because I was having to call through about 6 phone numbers each person because I didn't do so much of a good job with updating and asking phone numbers. So that's the number one thing that I'm going to do this time because close to the election day, we like to call people and ask them if they voted yet to remind them, voting is, so-and-so 2 days out, 1 day out. Make sure you're getting to the election. Do you know where your polling place is and things like that. So just making sure that you make that call to the voters one last time to get them to the polls is really going to make a difference. So getting their phone numbers.
Now, if you could talk to the voters now, why should they vote for you?
They should vote for me for the same reason why I asked for their vote in the primaries because I am a candidate who's running to make good change. I'm a mom of 3, I'm a substitute teacher, and I'm really running because I'm a candidate who cares deeply about the community, the people here. I am an environmentalist, and I want to see clean air, clean water, a sustainable future for our kids in the future. So vote for me for hard policy and change for the future that we desperately need. This planet needs a climate champion on every level of government.
Well, that's good. You hear that, voters? Destinee is your candidate of choice if you live in her district. Now, Destinee, what is your district number?
It is number 9, so mostly Romeoville, parts of Bolingbrook, Plainfield, Naperville, a few unincorporated areas of Lamont and Lockport. but mainly Romeoville in the center.
Okay, so you see that, voters? If you're in her district, please cast a vote for Destinee Ortiz for Will County Board. You will not be disappointed. Well, I hope you agree with me that we have some fantastic candidates on the ballot. In addition to the three that you got to meet today, Jackie Traynere, Rachel Ventura, and Destinee Ortiz, you need to vote for Bill Foster, Mary Kay O'Brien, Mike Kelly, and of course our governor, JB. Anyway, any questions, Bolingbrook, please reach out to me or any of the candidates, which the information that you see on the bottom. Get out and vote November 8th. Take care, Bolingbrook, and we'll see you next time.